negotiations and action agenda, as well as we had the ministerial, first ever urban and climate ministerial. And throughout this year, we have worked on, now we will go through it, a new process to elevate ourselves so that if we're starting a new era for climate action after the global stocktake of the first phase of the Paris Agreement, we would like to embark and build upon this achievement so that the new era is incorporating multi-level action and urbanization, and it becomes the new normal in all countries. So that's the whole history. If we go to the next slide, I we have mechanisms internally that throughout the year we're engaging with all the networks. These are the ones who are accredited to the UNFCCC, but we're also working with outside UNFCCC process as well. Let's go. Next slide. This was our priorities, but we have made huge way. And actually, yesterday we had our press conference. If you go next slide, going to Joe, we can. Yes, this is a who is who in the process, and all of these leaders have been impressive, especially the presidency of both Egypt and Emirates have been remarkable, and we have been enjoying with their very, very close dialogue and collaboration and support. It was a remarkable year, and I think it will be a very nice legacy for an effective and meaningful engagement of stakeholders in this process. So we'd like to commend the presidency on that at all levels, from top to bottom. The next slide is our journey. So throughout the year, we are making this effort, and this is the COP is as a result, as we all know. It's the main the success of COP depends on how you work before COP, both at the national level, at the capitals, but also how you interact with your national and global partners in various mechanisms. So throughout the year, we have UNFCCC processes, we have non-UNFCCC, but UN processes like SDGs or Habitat Assembly. We have global processes like G7, G20. These are not bounded by the UN rules. They have their own mechanisms, but it's important because the consensus agreed there shapes what will be agreed here in the UN process. And we have our own constituency-based engagements, our summits, our assemblies. Daring Cities, for example, is one of the opportunities that we are using as well. If we go to the next slide, on the way to this COP, what we have enjoyed is that so far we were mainly relying on our own resources, the LGMA constituency, but as we have explained the history, the more we have more recognition, we are enjoying the new opportunities, the new tools that is introduced by partners from the UN, UNFCCC, UN Habitat, UNEP, UN Secretary General, outside preparation of new processes, new reports, regional climate weeks, regional urban forums. These are all helping us. This means that we are not alone, and especially with the presidency initiative this year, we have elevated to a new level. And the beauty of this is that if we really want the new climate era to be fully multi-levelly coordinated, we have to have other actors working together. This needs a new culture of work. We also have to accept that it's a consensus. This is a learning experience for all of us, and I think this is a good experience for all of us because the real work starts 14th of December. The real work starts when we go back home. The goal is to bring the new climate plans to Brazil in 2025. So this is just the beginning of the journey. And obviously, we have never tested this. We have never been involved in the preparation of the NDCs. The national governments were never used to work with us in the preparation of their work. The nations have also not experienced to work with different government ministries. Primarily, this is an authority of ministers of climate change. But now the goal is that bring other ministries, bring your finance, bring your planning, bring your urbanization ministerials while you're preparing your NDCs. That is the reason why it is difficult, but it is more meaningful. If they can make this engagement, then we can be counting on these plans to be really delivered and raising the ambition that we need. Let's go to the next slide. this is a remarkable year. I haven't seen so much achievements throughout the year in so many different forums. That's why we are hopeful this COP will be different for us, at least for multi-level action and LGMA constituency, because we have heard leaders from Amazonas to climate Africa, to from G7 to G20 and UN Habitat Assembly. Everyone has agreed document which says some sort of a reference to multi-level action, urbanization. This has never been like this case before. So it's always, this is the signals, this is the, let's say, preparatory signals that this COP will be successful. And today we will hear this with the announcement in the afternoon. So let's go to the next slide. We are preparing towards this COP, the UN process, but throughout the past 18 months, we have also been championing the idea of stock takes at local level. We were trying to encourage our members, cities, regions to turn their town halls into a mini COP, to make their communities discuss these topics, that it is not just on their neighborhood climate action, not just on their cities climate action, but what is their role in the national process? What can they contribute to the global justice? How they can make sure their climate commitments are really reaching to the most disadvantaged in the society, but also benefiting for all of them. We were very happy that more than 25 sessions were held across all 6 continents, from Pacific to Pacific to Latin America, from Europe to Africa, and we had enormous feedbacks saying that this is exactly what we need. This is the moment. Our town halls, our streets are talking about so many negative topics. They're disturbed by so many other topics that they're not happy to talk about, or they're having difficulties to unite themselves. But when they have a debate on climate emergency, that is bringing them together. And this is giving us the hope that this can be built for the future regime. If we have a new initiative for multi-level action, these town halls can help them, that this is delivered in time, and therefore it has to be recognized in the outcome document. So this is also what we have done until now. So next, let's go to the next slide. Next, sorry. So yesterday we had our press conference, and this was the first day, and it was the message to all parties and partners that what does the LGMA, what does the constituency ask from the COP28? It was an enormous effort. So we have a reference to all agenda items, but this text also is a message to ourselves, to our mayors, our governors, our leaders, that climate agenda is so huge. It's not anymore just mitigation. It's not just adaptation. You have to discuss about your finance, you have to discuss about your nature, you have to discuss about your food, you have to discuss about your climate justice. So that it is a complete package. And therefore, this document, it's really nice that it is endorsed by such a broad diversity. As we said, it's not only a message to the parties, but it's also a homework to us. And that is why we are saying that we are ready to do more, provided that nations and global process engage us more effectively and provide resources to us. Let's go to the next slide. You can find the full text available. This was presented in, or this was negotiated or consulted with our partners through an inclusive process over the months to this meeting. It was concluded in July, and we have circulated, everybody endorsed. Since then, obviously, we have heard, or we have been following the negotiations, but also the initiatives from Bloomberg and the presidency. So this statement is in fact as like a building the block, or paving the way for this announcement that we have seen here. It's not a contradicting process, but just on the contrary, it's complementing, and it is directly saying that we have asked this kind of engagement, and presidency and champ and the ministerial has responded to what we have asked. So in fact, we take the pride of what is being announced today. So let's go to the next slide. So now we are coming to our process. First of all, daily information will be communicated in electronic format. So please make yourself subscribe to the bulletin that we have been preparing. This is a bulletin of the constituency, but it is open for anyone who wants to like to receive updates from our side. The first edition was already released. That is going to agenda. Actually, in a couple of hours, you will also receive the second edition where you will see what has been achieved yesterday, all the announcements, press links, so that this is the moment where you can keep yourself updated, especially for those who are not on site, and even those who are on site on the metro. You can click on your mobile or phone so that you can be aware of what has achieved yesterday and what's coming to today. Next, we can go to the next. So today is a unique day. Yesterday was the official opening procedurally, and in fact, there's something that we have to celebrate, which is the Loss and Damage Fund. I will touch upon this. Loss and Damage Fund is very, very ambitious and very, very important because subnational governments, especially the co-host of this pavilion, Scotland, has also been very actively involved in this process. Today and tomorrow is the World Climate Action. This is the initiative of the presidency, and they will have heads of states coming here, and there will be, for the first time, numerous engagement with, including local climate action summit. This will be at 4 p.m., our 1 hour clock, 1 hour session. And this is the moment where the presidency and Bloomberg will announce the Coalition for I Ambition multi-level partnerships. There will be ceremonial openings. The delegations will also join us from our mayors and governors. We will continue. The peak other moment is the second ministerial on urbanization and climate change on the 6th of December. UN Habitat and COP presidency and Marrakesh partnership will be hosting this. And this is also important because that will take us to next step. So an announcement, an initiative, a political commitment. Now we will have ministers of urbanization and climate to go to be deeper of how this is discussed and how this can be now rolled out. Actually, that would be the main expectation. However, 2 weeks we will be covering this, and as you have seen, we are saying that this is our home base, the multi-level action and urbanization pavilion. And maybe I should now, in this moment, like to acknowledge now the very exciting partnership we have built for this process. LGMA Focal Point ICLE, UN Habitat as the agency of the United Nations on urbanization, have united their forces as the co-conveners of this pavilion. Co-hosts are Scotland and Bloomberg Philanthropies in collaboration with the GCOM and C40 This is a unique exercise that we have been really excited to roll out. Hopefully, it will continue in the future years, because that is the space where we will have most of our engagements, announcements, but also the place to meet and get together and strategize ourselves. Outside pavilion, there's also a huge agenda. There are this space, of course, those who are attending, they're familiar. This is a very big area, so many pavilions, and negotiations are going on. Even yesterday, we have delivered our statement. There are documents released, and we will touch upon this now. Let's go to this next slide. So today, that's what I want to say. As of 1 a.m. this morning, we have received more detailed information. The summit will be in the Al Waha Theater. This is the strictly high-level VIP area. There will be special tickets. These tickets will be distributed at the Elkas Hub. The challenge is that today access is restricted, so to the blue zone, and even those who are here, they have to take long routes. We hope all would be okay. The capacity is announced as 500, so it's even more than the number of invited guests. And imagine those other guests who would like to join. So it will be a challenge, but this is webcasted, and this is a 1 hour event. And tomorrow there will be breakout groups in different pavilions and different era. This is the most important thing. So stay tuned for updates during the next couple of hours. There may be some alternative routes to collect the badges, and we will see this how it evolves. Next. So for the ministerial, we also have a registration area, online registration. Maybe on that point, I'd like to now acknowledge our colleague Bernard. Bernard, maybe it's time for you to come on and join us, because that's the best place for us to hear from you. You can use the other mic. I hope you can use the mic, huh? Yeah. Okay. So first of all, Bernard Bart is a great friend and family member of the LGMA constituency, but of course he's representing UN Habitat. Thank you all, Bernard, your team, for first of all being the co-convener of the pavilion. Today at 1 p.m. we will have the official opening with executive director as well. But thanks to all your efforts in making our success story now cemented in all this process. Maybe just an introduction, either overall or only for the ministerial, how you wish to roll it up. But thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Yunus. Good morning. Maybe just very briefly on the pavilion. Of course, we are excited to work together. I think really over the last few years, our messaging has very much aligned. Of course, as a United Nations agency, we are particularly concerned with supporting member states in that side of multi-level climate action. And of course, that is very symbiotic with the city networks and the LGMA mandate to support local authorities. So I think for us to bring these two worlds together in the pavilion, to have that space for dialogue is very exciting, as you've highlighted. So extremely pleased that we've made this really work this year round. Of course, we're also engaged in many of the other events that you've highlighted. So that partnership is deep and broad. But on the ministerial meeting, of course, we do see this as the peak event in the calendar of multi-level climate action. It's where the housing and urban development ministers come together. Of course, there is both horizontal and vertical dialogue. It's the urbanization and climate change ministerial meeting, really reflecting that the ministers that deal with urban development and housing also communicate with their colleagues here at COP that take the lead, the climate change, environment ministries. But of course, it's also not a ministerial roundtable in a very narrow sense where ministers talk amongst themselves, but it is a dialogue. It is a dialogue that is expressed explicitly on the stage, where we have ministers and representatives from local governments, mayors in most cases, have a conversation around their ambitions to advance multi-level climate action and city-level climate responses. But it's a 2.5 hours meeting. It's oversubscribed. We have 50 ministers registered, so there will be statements and commitments. And as you've very much said, we hope that that is a huge stepping stone in terms of moving forward, in terms of integrating the urban dimension into the global climate change negotiations, in terms of integrating urban and local action much more strongly into the NDCs, and ultimately really change the way climate change is addressed and supported by national governments at the local level.
Excellent. Just a complimentary note on that front. As we said at the beginning, climate agenda is primarily the business of climate ministers, environment ministers, however they frame themselves. Especially since Paris Agreement, they have been trying to bring other ministers on board. It started with finance ministers because of the huge $100 billion discussion. $100 billion is a budget that none of the climate ministers have ever used. Of course, this is beyond their climate budgets of their governments, even in the north and even south. Therefore, they have to bring finance ministers because the final approval of official development assistance or taxation or government budgets are going through other levels of government. Then it's also, there was a discussion about energy. 1.5-degree goal cannot be without energy ministers because they are the ones who plan, invest, which type of sector they will be used. Then came in industrial ministries, agriculture, transport. So this is in fact is very timely for us to bring urbanization ministers also together with UN Habitat because again, this is a key message to our partners in the LGMA constituency. None of our networks are responsible for national ministers. They are a different group of government bodies that we can interact ourselves, we can have dialogues, but they have their own tracks, they have their own processes that we have to respect. But we are very happy that we can make this agenda on their table, and especially this is not only this place. There is UN Habitat Assembly in Nairobi. There is UN Habitat mechanism, so that it is a complete new mechanism that we are exciting and mobilizing. And this is the reason why we are so excited, because then imagine the global urbanization programs across the world, the new real developments that is coming in Jakarta, Cairo. If these plans are also environmentally or climate friendly, successfully integrated, then it will be a huge, huge impact. And climate ministers cannot do this alone. They cannot even convince their climate ministers as well. That's the point why they are here with us, and that's the reason why we are making this effort, that it is an offer, a new way of work, and an exciting and meaningful way of work. So thanks a lot once again. In the next couple of days, every day we will try to give updates on these preparations. Probably you may have more announcements, and together with UN Habitat, we will have this pavilion also be the one to prepare the sessions, the ministerial, but also on the same day when the ministerial is over, we will have a debate here in this pavilion to discuss, okay, what we have heard, how we can take it forward. The next week, again, we will continue, so that we will continue to build and work further. So let's continue on the next slide. Yes, once again, this pavilion is our home. We have a, a stage like you have seen here. Every session in this stage is webcasted. In some sessions, you will have translations. The full agenda is available online. And this is also developed in collaboration with a number of partners. But ICLE and UNAVIDAT are convening this together, managing the agenda, and our partners are helping us to make sure that we are in a very nicely seated and technically decent, so that this is, of course, is a question of resources, and that we are able to make sure that this is available to our constituency. We have also a networking area. We will have screens. You can have our walls keeping our messages about multi-level action, urbanization, and loss and damage. So this is in the blue zone of the pavilion, zone B7 and building 88 and the first floor. We will have every session webcasted, but of course, we will have special moments. And one of these moments is today at 1 p.m. We will kick off our official high-level opening. And I even see colleagues who are involved with us. Dan, if you would like to just a brief announcement about what we can expect in the opening, I would be more happy if you can introduce our special guest. You can come here because he's the person you will announce is a long friend of local climate action globally, and Dan Stiles, US board member. So please, Dan, first introduce yourself to our colleagues, and then you have a special guest, I think.
Yes, thank you very much, Eunice. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and we're thrilled that this afternoon we'll have the honor of former Vice President Al Gore joining us to help open the pavilion today. And it's a real treat to have him among all the other very esteemed colleagues and speakers that we'll have joining us. And so we're thrilled about his engagement on multi-level action here at the COP.
Excellent. So we have really been working with Vice President for all his journey, his life as a senator, vice presidency, and then climate reality, especially in Dan, you are here representing him on House's climate reality project. Um, it's not the first time. I mean, in Bonn, we had a fantastic session at the COP in Bonn, Bonn, Fiji Climate Summit. We had also interacted with him. He's expected to come here around 2:15. Please bear with us today's unique conditions, but we are committed and he's committed. Yesterday, in this pavilion, we have the official Scottish session opened by the First Minister, Humza Yousaf, and he's also planning to join us, especially to welcome Vice President Al Gore. Executive Director is also scheduled to be with us. We have Governor of Tokyo, Minister of Cities of Brazil. We have also ICLE leadership, Vice President Malmö Mayor Catherine Jamey, our President, Mayor County. Nina Hachigan from U.S. State Special Representative of the State Department, and governors from Brazil will be joining us. So it will be a moment to kick off really our exciting agenda. And once again, thank you very much. And we will continue in the next of the days with Al Gore, but also with his team, Climate Reality as well. Thank you. Thank you. Next. Yeah, you can also leave if you want. So the official openings will continue today. We will have celebrations. We will have announcements. But now we also have a business to do. Our business here is to make sure we have, at the end of this COP, the agreed documents includes texts that recognizes and engages us appropriately. Obviously, we have released our statement. Now it's time to bring these references, text into the documents. And there are several mechanisms. There are several negotiation tracks. Starting from today, contact groups have been established. The mechanism is that these contact groups have their specific agendas documents. Most of them are made available, and most of these documents are accessible, and most of these meeting rooms are also open, but with a limitation with capacity. So starting from today onwards, we have special badges, tickets for our delegation that we can share so that our voices there. Seats are reserved for LGMA. Not all our members can attend, but we can share these tickets among ourselves so that depending on each agenda, one of us can be there and they can then report back in the daily briefings every day. The mechanism is that this week until Saturday evening, the negotiations will be held by the UN bodies, which is subsidiary bodies. Starting from Monday, the days are now confusing because usually the COPs were starting on Mondays and it were finishing at Saturday. At the moment, I don't count the weekdays. Like I really don't know which day we are, but I know we are 1st of December. That's the important thing. So 6th of December, the UNFCCC negotiations will come to a new level that negotiators will finish their work and they can say that, no, we couldn't agree. There are brackets, they say, that we could not convince ourselves. And starting from 8th of December, this last 6 days is the moment where presidency can now take the opportunity to gather new groups, and this will very likely be at the ministerial level, or he can create new contact groups, new coordination groups. And the presidency can also, with this collaboration, introduce new texts. So there is this two-level process, and we have to make sure that we are every moment. This chart is important because this is the chart where groups, it lists countries. There are some abbreviations. The first box is the countries and the group of countries who have made a submission, which means that they have sent a written document that says that at the end of the global stocktake process, we want to see a reference to multi-level action or urbanization. This is interesting. It's around 19 countries or group of countries. For example, LDCs is least developed countries. AOS is small island states. ILAC is the countries from the Latin Americas. EIG is also a different group. China, EU, obviously. And the individual country names are there. If you count all these countries, it is both global north and south. It is different sizes, and it's a strong majority of countries. And we have to now build upon. So this means that it's not the mayors or networks of cities are asking this, but the countries are asking this. And there are several paragraphs that I quoted here. These are among the 15 paragraphs, these are the most interesting language-wise relevant for us. Our goal is that we can use this text to build upon the next documents, and we will be working so that it is available on the final document. This is my last slide, because now we have to leave the room so that the next session starts to be prepared as appropriate. Yesterday, loss and damage fund was announced. This was a 1-year negotiation. We are once again would like to commend Scotland being so aggressively and so ambitiously pushing for that. The good news is that in this document, there are 3 paragraphs. It says direct access to subnational or direct access by subnational level. This language has never been seen in any UN documents until now. Carlos, our colleague who is leading our finance working group under FMDV, Carlos de Freitas, you have been fighting for this for so many years. Am I exaggerating? Direct access subnational has not been seen anywhere before. Correct? You want to come? Okay, you don't want to come. But this text is now could be exemplary for other processes, and this is now agreed. So we can use this and copy paste to other places. That's extremely valuable opportunity, and we have to build on it. The last thing, today, again, tomorrow, there will be several sessions that we can use the tickets from our side that we can share. I don't want to do it now because I have to leave the space so that the next session can start in time. But the message is that an exciting 10 or 12 days ahead of us. We have already made a huge progress until now. It is now run the last 100 meters so that we reach to our destination and then start running again, because it's a journey that we have to take back home. With this, I'd like to thank you very much for your all participation and interest, and we will keep ourselves connected throughout the day, and wish you the best to the rest of the Pavilion team for your next sessions.